The man who had everything. The city skyline glittered beneath the evening sky like a kingdom of glass and steel. From the top floor of Bill Global Holdings Tower, the light stretched endlessly across the horizon, reflecting the success of one man. Tyler Bill stood silently before the floor-to-ceiling windows of his office. At 32 years old, he was one of the youngest billionaires in the country. Magazines called him a visionary entrepreneur. Financial networks praised his leadership. Investors trusted him. Employees admired him. From the outside, Tyler appeared to have everything. Yet as he stared down at the city that carried his name, he felt an emptiness he could never explain. A soft knock interrupted his thoughts. "Mr. Bill." His assistant, Lauren, stepped inside carrying a tablet. "They've arrived." Tyler sighed. "Send them in." Lauren nodded and left. A moment later, 3 members of the company's board entered the office. None of them looked happy. Tyler immediately sensed trouble. Richard Holloway, the oldest among them, loosened his tie and took a seat. "We have a problem." Tyler walked toward the conference table. "What kind of problem?" Richard exchanged uneasy glances with the others. "The kind that can destroy everything." Tyler frowned. "Explain." Another board member opened a folder and slid several documents across the table. Tyler scanned the pages. His eyes narrowed. The documents detailed a series of illegal financial transactions involving offshore accounts. Millions of dollars had disappeared. Worse, the transactions appeared to have been authorized by Tyler himself. "This is impossible." Richard nodded grimly. "We know. These signatures are fake." "We know that too." Tyler looked around the room. "Then why am I seeing them?" Nobody answered immediately. The silence spoke louder than words. Finally Richard leaned forward. "Because the media already has copies." Tyler felt a cold sensation settle in his stomach. "When?" "An hour ago." Tyler stood. "Who leaked them?" "We don't know. But someone clearly wants you removed." Tyler's jaw tightened. For years, rival corporations had attempted to weaken Bill Global Holdings. None had succeeded. Until now. The documents looked convincing. Far too convincing. Someone had spent months preparing this attack. Maybe years. Tyler tossed the papers onto the table. "They'll prove they're fake." Richard looked unconvinced. "Eventually." "What does that mean?" "It means public opinion won't wait for the truth." The room fell quiet. Tyler understood exactly what Richard meant. In business, perception often mattered more than facts. A lie repeated often enough became reality. By tomorrow morning, every news station would be discussing the scandal. Investors would panic. Stock prices would drop. Competitors would celebrate. And somewhere behind the scenes, the people responsible would begin their next move. Tyler slowly sat back down. "Who benefits?" Richard answered immediately. "Everyone who wants control of the company." The words lingered in the air. Control. That was the real goal. Not money. Not revenge. Power. Bill Global Holdings was worth billions. If Tyler's reputation collapsed, hostile investors could force changes within the company. Perhaps even remove him entirely. The scandal was only the opening move. The war had just begun. 3 hours later, Tyler finally left the office. The moment he stepped outside the building, camera flashes exploded around him. Reporters rushed forward. "Mr. Bill, do you have a statement? Did you steal company funds? Are the allegations true? Will you resign?" Security guards pushed through the crowd. Tyler remained silent. The shouting continued. Questions came from every direction. Microphones surrounded him. Cameras followed his every movement. For the first time in years, Tyler felt trapped. His driver opened the limousine door. Tyler climbed inside. The vehicle pulled away. The noise faded behind him. But the pressure remained. He leaned back against the seat and closed his eyes. His phone immediately rang. The screen displayed a familiar name. Margaret Bill. His grandmother. Tyler answered. "Hello." Her voice remained strong despite her age. "Come home." He already knew what that meant. The family had called a meeting. And family meetings were never optional. "I'll be there soon. Don't keep us waiting." The call ended. Tyler stared out the window. The city lights blurred past. Growing up, he had believed wealth would solve every problem. Now he knew better. Money attracted people. Success attracted enemies. Power attracted both. An hour later, Tyler arrived at the Bill estate. The property sat on a private hill overlooking the city. Massive gates guarded the entrance. The mansion itself looked more like a palace than a home. Tyler had grown up here. Yet it had never truly felt like home. Inside, several members of his family waited in the grand dining room. His grandmother sat at the head of the table. Even in her 70s, Margaret Bill commanded attention. Everyone listened when she spoke. Everyone obeyed. Tyler took his seat. Margaret wasted no time. "The company is under attack." "I know." She nodded. "Then you understand the danger." "I do." Another relative spoke. "We need damage control immediately. We need to identify whoever leaked those documents. We need legal action." Everyone talked at once. Tyler remained silent. Eventually Margaret raised a hand. The room fell quiet. "There is another matter." Tyler looked up. The expression on his grandmother's face worried him. "What matter?" She reached into a drawer and removed a sealed envelope. The sight alone made Tyler uncomfortable. He recognized it immediately. His grandfather's inheritance agreement. A document no one discussed unless absolutely necessary. Margaret placed it on the table. "Your grandfather included a clause." Tyler sighed. "I know." "Then perhaps you should explain it." Tyler leaned back. Years ago, his grandfather had created conditions tied to a large portion of the family inheritance. Conditions Tyler considered ridiculous. One stood above all others. Marriage. "If I'm not married before my 33rd birthday, control of the inheritance trust transfers elsewhere." The room remained silent. Margaret nodded. "How long do you have?" Tyler answered quietly. 30 days. Several relatives shifted uncomfortably. 30 days. 1 month. That was all. The timing could not have been worse. A corporate scandal threatened his career. Business rivals were circling like sharks. And now this. If Tyler failed to marry before his birthday, billions of dollars would move beyond his control. Not because of incompetence. Not because of failure. Simply because he remained unmarried. His grandfather had believed family mattered more than wealth. At the time, Tyler had considered the clause unfair. Now it felt impossible. One cousin broke the silence. "You could arrange a marriage." Tyler laughed. "No." "Why not?" "Because marriage isn't a business contract." "It can be." Tyler shook his head. "Not for me." Margaret studied him carefully. "You still believe you'll find someone who loves you for who you are?" "Yes." "And not for your money." "Exactly." The old woman smiled sadly. "That becomes difficult when everyone knows your name." Tyler could not argue. For years, every relationship had carried uncertainty. Was someone interested in him? Or interested in his fortune? The question never disappeared. One girlfriend had secretly negotiated a media deal about their relationship. Another had attempted to gain influence within the company. A third had openly admitted she enjoyed the lifestyle more than the romance. Each experience left Tyler more cautious, more skeptical, more alone. Margaret finally spoke. "What will you do?" Tyler looked around the room. At the wealth. At the luxury. At the expectations. For the first time in a long while, he felt exhausted. Then an idea appeared. Small at first. Then larger. And larger still. By the time he stood, the plan had already begun forming. "I need to leave." Several relatives looked confused. "Leave? For how long?" Tyler smiled slightly. "A month." The room erupted with questions. Margaret simply watched. "What are you talking about?" "You can't disappear. The media will go insane. The company needs you." Tyler raised a hand. Everyone fell silent. "If I stay here, I'll spend the next 30 days surrounded by lawyers, reporters, investors, and people trying to manipulate me." No one disagreed. "I need space to think." Margaret narrowed her eyes. "What are you really planning?" Tyler met her gaze. "The inheritance requires marriage." "Yes." "Then perhaps I should meet someone." Several relatives laughed. They assumed he was joking. He wasn't. Margaret noticed immediately. "You are serious." "Very." "How?" Tyler smiled. "For once in my life, I want people to see me without the $1 billion." The old woman leaned back. Understanding slowly appeared on her face. "You want to disappear." "Exactly." "And become what?" Tyler thought for a moment. Not Tyler Bill. Not the billionaire. Not the headline. Not the heir. Someone ordinary. Someone invisible. Someone free. Finally he answered. "Troy Miller." The room fell silent. Margaret stared at him. Then, surprisingly, she laughed. A genuine laugh. Perhaps the first Tyler had heard from her in years. "It is completely reckless." "Probably." "It is dangerous." "Definitely." "It might fail." "Very likely." Her smile widened. "Which means it sounds exactly like something your grandfather would have done." Tyler smiled back. For the first time that day, hope stirred inside him. Maybe there was still a path forward. Maybe beyond the scandal, beyond the wealth, beyond the expectations, there was a life he had never experienced. A life where people cared less about his bank account and more about his character. A life where love was real. A life where nobody knew the name Tyler Bill. 30 minutes later, standing alone in his bedroom, Tyler opened a map on his laptop. He searched random towns along the coastline. Small places. Quiet places. Places reporters would never think to search. One location caught his attention. Harbor Point. A modest coastal town several hours away. Population less than 8,000. One school. One library. One community center. One annual harvest festival. Simple. Peaceful. Perfect. Tyler stared at the screen. Somewhere in that town, life continued without corporate scandals. Without billion-dollar headlines. Without people pretending to care because of money. He smiled. Tomorrow morning, Tyler Bill would disappear. And Troy Miller would begin his life. He had no way of knowing that the decision would change everything. His future. His family. His heart. And the life of a school teacher named Rose Dodge. The countdown had begun. 30 days remained before his 33rd birthday. 30 days to protect his family's legacy. 30 days to discover whether true love still existed. 30 days before the truth would catch up with him. And somewhere beyond the city lights, fate was already waiting.